This pilot makes a horrible mistake stalling his two-liner. Today, we're going to break this video down. We're going to talk about the mistakes he made. I'm going to tell you about two-stage stalls. And we're also going to talk about what he does really right in this video. Are you ready? Here we go.
See ya.
I'm paragliding!
See ya.
Hey everybody, this is Ari in the Air. Welcome back to the channel. Stoked you're here. If you're new, welcome. I'm Ari. I teach high-level paragliding, and I'm the founder of the Paragliding Men's Group, where we help smart, adventurous men have badass relationships with women who actually appreciate and support them. If you're ready to drop the people-pleasing patterns and become the leader of safety, fun, and abundance in your home, use the link in description to apply. This is the last chance to get in before the price goes up in 2026. Okay, let's get into this video here. So, as always, we're going to watch it first, one time through, and then I'll break it down. Okay, blue and white Xeno, full stall. Oh, horseshoe, claps together, gigantic cravat, huge sail. Look at that thing. Auto rotation into a sat configuration, stall. Wingtip pulls through, now is just flapping, huge cravat, 50% of the wing open, a little bit. The video's cut, here it's edited. Somehow he's keeping heading, keeping the glider flying, switching hands on the brakes, coming in. He's got one hand on the brake, one hand on the far riser here. Shallow water by the beach. Lands in about a foot of water. Glider lands dry. Oh my God, he really salvaged that, didn't he? He sure does. Okay, let's go back, and we're going to talk about the egregious sin that he commits inside of the stall, and then we'll talk about two-stage stalls, how to deal with cravats, and then emergency landings, because this is very much an emergency situation that the pilot manages really well after he totally blows it. So kudos. Let's go back here. Watching this stall, the video starts just as he's pulling the brakes to stall the glider, and watch what happens. He pulls it, the wingtips curl back, and the glider bends into like a reverse horseshoe, right? The trailing edge coming together. And then what happens is that he goes hands up and he stays hands up. That's what brings him into this configuration, which is a true horseshoe, the leading edge clapped together. Nobody wants to ever see the leading edge of their glider clapping together. What then happens is that he just stays hands up, lets the glider fly, which locks the cravat in right here. So now the cravat, the glider is flying straight, which the wind blows the glider right into the lines. And now it creates this huge sail, which creates so much drag that it instantly starts auto rotating almost into a line twist because it happens so fast. Now in this configuration, we see this big loop of sail here between the A line on one side and the A line on the other side. And this just creates so much drag. It's going to make an insane auto rotation. So it stalls the glider. And luckily in this configuration, as you're going to see, the glider actually will fly straight. Okay. Through the editing. Okay, he's trying to like kind of mess with it. Look, in this configuration, looking at this, do you think you can pull the stabilo for this? Do you know how much stabilo you have to pull on this? Okay, so how wide is the glider? So let's say that the span of the glider is 10.5 meters, right? A flat span, look it up on your glider. How wide is it? Let's call this 10.5 meters, Xeno 1, one of my favorite gliders of all time. If 40% of the glider is gone, then we're talking that we have 6 meters of sail open. So that means we have 4 meters of sail in this cravat. So that means that if you wanted to get a hold of the stabilo line and pull the stabilo so that it would come through these lines, even if it could, that means that you would have to reel in something like 5 meters of stabilo line. And your stabilo on your Xeno is like, dental floss is going to cut your hand, especially this guy's not wearing gloves, which is a horrible no-no if you're going to do any kind of maneuvers on any glider ever. And in general, anytime you're flying a glider, I recommend bike gloves. The one time I threw my reserve in paragliding, I wasn't wearing bike gloves and the lines nearly degloved me. I almost took the meat off of my finger and it gave me a huge line burn on my hand. So anytime you're flying a glider, you're dealing with lines. You need gloves to protect your hands. You just cannot pull the stabilos. Stabilos are not how you clear cravats anyways. I've talked about this extensively on this channel. What needs to happen here is either a really, really long, crazy fight of backfly that may or may not result in this glider ever coming out of here. This is a configuration that, for the most part, the first thing I think is throw your reserve. Like, just throw your reserve. If there's any doubt, then get it out. This pilot doesn't throw his reserve and honestly styles the rest of the video, like, really impressively. But before we talk about that, let's talk about the two-stage stall here and what needed to happen in this stall so that the outcome that he gets isn't what he gets. Okay, so look at us. So as you're stalling a two-liner, you have a lot of span to manage. You got to manage the span. Okay. When you're stalling the glider, you're managing the pitch, right? But you also need to manage the configuration of the glider. So with two-liners in general, when you stall them, they're going to stall tips first. And that's what you see here. You play, the tips go back. He actually stays on the brakes longer than I would, because now you see that he's in this reverse horseshoe configuration. This is too far. You don't need to stall the glider that far before you let up the first time in a two-stage stall, right? If you're going to stall a racing two-liner, this is nearly a 7 aspect ratio. Basically, what you're trying to do is pull a half wrap, pull the brakes down, stall the tips, let it up so that the tips actually stop going back towards each other and they come forward. And then when the span is managed, then you pull the brakes down again so that the glider falls into a tail slide, okay? So his first mistake is he stalls for too long before letting up. Like here, he's still pulling on the brakes. And honestly, like in this configuration right here, that's as far as you needed to go. Okay, big old smiley face. This is as far as you need to go to do the first stall on a two-stage stall, right? This is the first stage. This is as far as you need to go. At this point, you put your hands up as the span comes back. Then you catch the span and bring it into a tail slide decisively. No exception. You do not let the glider do anything except go into a tail slide on the second brake input of a two-stage stall. The problem, if you don't do that, is what we see here, which from this configuration, now looking at this glider in this shape, this reverse horseshoe, and seeing his hands at the pulleys, he's gone totally hands up. What now happens is that as the glider's not going to shoot hard as in pitch from this configuration, but what it's going to do is the wingtips are going to shoot hard and they're going to clap together, and that's exactly what you see, and they clap together and now you're hosed. Okay, this is a tough position to get out of clean because now your risk of cravat is just so high, especially on a two-liner. So you can never let this go to this situation. So in general, don't pull the brakes for so long. Let up when it's in a smiley face instead of a total horseshoe, right? This is a bad place, but it's not unreconcilable. Like the glider is stalled. So when you go hands up at this point right here, now you got to be back on the brakes. See this? You got to be way back on the brakes here and insisting that the glider does not shoot forward and instead only goes backwards. You've committed, and now you're committed. You can only just like take it into back fly here, you know? So as we see this crazy horseshoe, wow, look at how profoundly horseshoed that is. So that's just uncommitment, fear. I don't know what it was, but basically he needed to let it fly here, manage the span into black fly, but he goes all the way to here and then just hands up and then just deer in the headlights as the glider does whatever it wants to do. And then this horrible thing. So hopefully that's clear with the two-stage stall. You don't need to take it as far into the horseshoe, into the stall on the first time. This is why we do two-stage stalls, is to manage the span while also getting the glider behind us and pitching it into a stall. So let go of it here and then manage the span into a backfly. Once we're in this configuration and we're talking about a huge auto rotation, and now we're talking about a stall, which is the correct thing he does here, right? Right here, he does a stall, and that is correct. Do not let the glider turn you. Do not let the glider turn you. Do not let the glider turn you. No, that's my mantra. So if the glider is auto-rotating and you have to pull the brake so hard that it stalls the glider, so be it. Now he gets into this configuration, which has a lot less drag, and he's able to control the heading of the glider. And honestly, like I said initially, I think this guy really styles it. Just watching this video my intuition is that this pilot is quite familiar with this place. This might be like his home site or somewhere that he's very familiar with. He also like knows how deep the water is right here. This is somewhere where he's actually like, this is not his first time in this site. So he actually had a good idea of this is why he doesn't throw his reserve, basically. So in general, if you can keep the heading on the glider, that's not enough to not throw your reserve. Just because you can make it fly straight is not enough to not throw your reserve. You basically have to know that you can land the glider safely. And if this was on Earth, if he was landing on Earth, then I would not recommend trying to land this glider. I would throw my reserve if I was landing on Earth. In this instance, he's going to land on flat water, right? If you were going to crash into the waves here, like don't do it. Like if it was on the Oregon coast, no, water very cold, big waves, not a place to do this. But flat water, shallow, right next to the beach, he makes a decision that flies him in here. And look at, in this frame, look, he's got his left hand on the right riser. His head is outside of the right riser. All of his weight shift is on the flying glider here. And he's using the brake just to keep the heading. He's guaranteed he's on the edge of stall just to keep the glider going straight. He flies over the water the entire time. In case the glider stalls, he has to pitch his reserve, and he's still going to land in the water. And honestly, he guides the glider down and stays weight shifted out so that he can land relatively slow in a foot of water, stands up immediately, and the glider lands dry on the fucking beach, which is really pretty impressive and amazing. To blow it so hard and then to get yourself into such a heinous configuration and then to rise like a phoenix out of the ashes of your mistake and to be so present and courageous and to stick with it. Ha! Yes! Paragliding is amazing. People are fucking awesome. Everything is possible. Everything is possible. Okay? I hope this video is useful. Like I said in the beginning, this is going to be your last chance to get into the Paragliding Men's Group before the price goes way up. I know a lot of you have circled around this as I've built this part of my business in the last 2 years. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I've had, probably 60 men in the Paragliding Men's Group, and it's been just such a wonderful thing. So thank you so much for those of you who have participated. And if you have a family that you love, if you have a wife that you want to show up for, if you have a partner that means a lot to you, or you know that is a direction that you want to move to in your life, more authenticity, cleaner communication, and leadership throughout yourself, then apply in the link below and I'll personally reach out. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next episode.